great, Donnie. Thank you. Scott, I think it's ironic that y'all are getting inducted the same year, and you cannot make this up. Where's Jeff Baker? There he is, back in the back as always, just like in school. We went to the 1990 French Open, and we decided that we were going to go to the matches that afternoon, but we were going to go work out that morning. And so we found, we asked for a clay court, and we didn't speak any French, and so they ended up taking us to this indoor clay court, and we are pounding the ball. I mean, we are wearing it out. And people are watching us. They're watching us through the glass. They got people coming down the court. And so we come back, and Baker goes up to the guy at the front desk and says, Keith, we three, Roland Garros, car. And they go, oh, yes. So we. So they go get a car. Car shows up. It's the player's car. You can't make this up. The player's car takes us up to the player's entrance, just like the one that you went in. We get in the player's entrance, and so when we go in, we got all these rackets all over the place. So we put them in one big bag, and I played a joke on Baker. I said, Baker, put this on your back. And so Baker jumps out of the van, player's entrance, and he's got all these rackets on his back. And I said, Guy Forget, everybody, Guy Forget. Everybody walks up and gets on the ground, and we're walking in. Congratulations on being inducted to the Hall of Fame. What?
It was Kids Day.
Oh, that's right. That's right. It was Kids Day. Can't believe it happened to both of us. Oh, that's right. Dr. Stretch Reed was there as well. Well, you know, I've known Keith for a very long time, and I just want to give a little color commentary. I'm not going to go through his accolades. Donnie did a great job of that. But I met Keith when I was about a very impressionable young tennis player, about 11 years old. And we were on the park at Tuscaloosa Para, Park and Recreation. I call it the hardware hunting tour. You play the C division, the B division, the A division, mixed doubles, you're going to come away with some hardware at some point in time. And when I first met Keith, Chip's here as well. Chip, where are you? There's Chip right there. Chip and Keith and a guy named Tim Esslinger, they looked like a Bjorn Borg explosion. And it was the worst combination ever. Esslinger had his patented Fila headband on. I think you were playing with a Borg Pro at the time. And they were cheap boards, too. They couldn't afford the Fila, so they had the Todd 1 stuff, you know. And so that was back in when I was 11 years old, and I looked down on that court, and I was like, those guys, I need to hook my career to them. I'm going to go play. So when I was 14, our lives really merged when Keith took the job as assistant pro at Vestavia Hills Country Club, and that was really my home away from home. And apparently, Keith had some kind of immense increase in compensation because he went from what Hans Carlson and Stefan Olsen called as the big battleship, which is this huge car, to convertible, and then later on he had this 280ZX with T-tops and, I mean, digital display. I mean, it was just an incredible car. And again, I said, 14, okay, this reaffirms I need to hit myself. So, unfortunately at the time, there was really no Dave Ramsey or Susie Orman to help Keith keep himself from himself. So I heard at the club one day that Keith was really needing a cheap place to live. And so I mentioned this to Mom, and Mom put one and one together, and she was dealing with me coming of age and expensive tennis lessons, and so she had an apartment downstairs and offered Keith the job to live in our house, but he had to work me out in the mornings. He gave my sister Liv and I free tennis lessons, and and so it was a great marriage. It was kind of like the show Modern Family. It was very weird, but it worked. So now armed with my newest best brother and living in the downstairs apartment, Keith taught me a lot of things. He taught me the American twist serve. He taught me the Robert Haas diet plan, if anybody remembers that. He taught me wind spreads up between hole number 12 and 13 on the golf course. I see Lee nodding. She remembers those. And then he taught me other things that were very important. The Eagles, Buckingham Nicks, and not even to mention Casa Tampico, Baby Does, and some others. But You know, what I did learn is there was a lot more to Keith than this rock star, beyond board explosion, tennis professional who was driving a sports car. He didn't have dreams and vision. He knew exactly what he wanted to do with his life, and it was all about tennis. He was so dedicated. I mean, I can't tell you the amount of books that I've seen him read and all the things he's done. But I asked when I was, you know, it was a great honor, Keith, to ask me to do this tonight. And I asked people to write in letters, and I also looked at the Hall of Fame letters that were sent in, and overarching themes from those letters you could see were three real key components. And I asked people why Keith deserves to be in the Hall of Fame outside of tennis, but also what Keith meant to them, and their dedication and hard work, number one. Number two was passion. Everybody sees this every day in Keith. And the last is compassion. So I'm going to give you a little insight into all those three things, and I'll turn it over to Keith. In all the letters, people said no matter if they were tiny tots or seniors, ages 6 to 76, Keith taught them something that stuck with them today. I mean, I can tell you that I've got a gazillion things. I think about Keith every day. One of his students, Mark Ellis Reyes, who played in multiple high school state championships with him, said Keith dealt with us cocky little high schoolers every day. He did so because he knew who we were and who we'd become. He committed himself to all of us because he knew that his hard work and life lessons would mold us into who we were today. It's hard to find that in a lot of busy people today. In her letter to the Hall of Fame Selection Committee, Alabama women's tennis coach Jenny Mines talked about Keith's passion as well. She said, Keith's an icon in the state of Alabama for his commitment, enthusiasm, passion, and service to growing tennis in the state of Alabama. Keith has a passion that is infectious. Anybody knows that, I'm sure. And this was the main reason that I asked him to join me on the Alabama women's tennis team. Keith's passion for the game also propelled him to come up with some unbelievably brilliant ideas, but it also fostered some that were complete and total idiocy. One of those, and talks about his passion, how infectious it is, he convinced 3 young single guys, myself, Clint Butler, Clint's here tonight, and Stacy McCants, who couldn't be here tonight, that we should, when we were in college, dress up like Diana Ross and the Supremes, fully dressed in dresses with balloons, Prince, The Temptations, and my favorite was Guns N' Roses' Sweet Child of Mine with Keith and long blonde hair. But he did this because he wanted to give back to Indian Hills and the members, and it was a big party that we did it for. Beyonce would have been very proud of those lip-syncing adventures. So that's Keith's passion. Compassion. Roger Williams, former officer and director of Indian Hills Country Club and co-founder of the Intergalactic Tennis Championships held each year in Gulf Shores. Yeah, some attendees said in a letter to the USTA Hall of Fame Committee, Keith is a thoughtful, wonderful, caring person who truly enjoys serving others. His character and honesty are beyond reproach, and he constantly makes richer the lives of everyone with whom he comes in contact. This is what compassion is all about. Barbara Babs Winstead said in her letter, Keith has an innate ability to use tennis as a platform to serve the critical causes that hit close to home to the people he loves. After my husband, Dwayne Ironman Winstead, passed away, Keith held several fundraisers in honor and donated all the proceeds for a cure for ALS. Another student wrote to Keith that taught him, take every opportunity to make a moment and a teaching opportunity in somebody's lives. This is compassion at its finest. Throughout Keith's career, he's brought happiness to the others' lives of making tennis fun. He's taught tennis to inner city kids. He's volunteered, like Donnie said, at so many different levels, and that's what compassion is all about. Sometimes Keith's compassion also leads him, just like his passion did,